Good morning everyone, my name is Alea Cassandra Tinanida and now I will be discussing about the levels and types of control. Recognizing that organizational controls can be categorized in many ways. It is very helpful at this point to distinguish between the two set of control or the levels of control, which is the strategic control and management control na kadalasang tinatawag nating operating control. Imagine na isa kang kapitan ng barko. Paano mo magagamit yung strategic control and operational control? Strategic control by making sure that your ship is going to the right direction. Sisiguraduhin mo na ang barko ay papunta sa tamang direction. Where operational control or the operating controls, making sure that your ship is in the right condition before, during, and after voyage. With that analogy, strategic control is concerned with tracking the strategy as it being implemented, detecting any problem in areas, suggesting that the strategy is incorrect, and making any necessary adjustment. When we say strategic, ano yung pumapasok sa ating isipan? Of course, strategy, mga strategy. It refers to those strategy na ginagamit natin in one organization, in operating business. Ano yung mga strategy na pwede natin gamitin or gagamitin natin when there is a problem? Kung paano ito malulutas or ano yung makakalutas sa ating problema na sa mga strategy. Operational control, in contrast to strategic control, is concerned with executing the strategy. Where operational control are imposed, they function within the framework established by the strategy. When we say operational, it is from the word operation. Ito naman yung pag-establish, pag-execute ng mga strategy na nagawa natin. It is the procedure, the measure that enable a business to function. For example, sasali ka sa isang kompetisyon. Paano mo magagamit yung two levels of control? Of course, first, we have a strategic control. Ano yung mga strategy na naiisip mo na pwede mong gawin or gamitin during the competition. The second one is operational control. Paano mo i-execute yung mga nagawa mo or naisip mong strategy during the competition. It is valuable to understand that within the strategic and operational levels of control, there are several types of control. The first two can be mapped across two dimensions, level of proactivity and outcome versus behavioral. The following table summarizes this along with example of what just control might look like. The first one types of control is proactivity. Can be defined as monitoring of problems in a way that provides their timely prevention rather than after the fact reaction. Refers to self-initiated behavior that endeavors to solve a problem before it has occurred. Involves acting in advance of a future situation than reacting. Kung ano ang una mong naiisip na solusyon bago pa mangyari ang naiisip mong problema. Possible solution to a possible problem. In management, this is known as feed-forward control. It addresses what we can do ahead of time to help our plan to succeed. Kung ano yung dapat at kaya natin gawin sa oras upang makatulong ito to achieve our goal or para maging successful yung ating ginawang plano. The essence of feed-forward control is to see the problems coming in time to do something about them. Ibig sabihin, dapat nakikita na natin or napipredict na natin yung maaaring maging problema upang masolusyonan agad natin, mahanapan natin ng solusyon. Feed-forward controls include preventive maintenance on machinery and equipment and due diligence on investment. Types and examples of control. The first one is control for activity. Under that, we have 3 examples: feed-forward control, concurrent control, and feedback control. The second one is behavioral control. Under that, we have organizational culture, hands-on management supervision during a project, qualitative measures of customer satisfaction. The last one is outcome control. We have market demand or economic forecast, the real-time speed of production line, financial measures such as profitability, sales growth. The process of monitoring and adjusting ongoing activities and processes known as concurrent control. Such control are not necessarily proactive, but they can prevent problems from becoming worse. Ang concurrent controls daw ay ang proseso ng pagmomonitor sa mga nangyayaring activities, ongoing activities, real time, para to identify and prevent problems as they occur, para maiwasan kung anumang problema darating. Feedback controls involve gathering information about the completed activity, evaluating that information, and taking steps to improve the similar activities in the future. When we say feedback, yung reaction after the activity. For example, sa mga webinar, sa lagi tayong nag-join sa webinar, 'di ba? After ng webinar nila, lagi silang nagpapasagot ng evaluation. Nagagather sila ng information about the finished activity or finished webinar. Tas lagi nating nakikita doon or nasasagutan yung suggestion to improve. Para ma-improve yung webinar nila next time. E-evaluate nila yon yung mga nasagutan natin. Then, e-execute nila yung mga sinuggest natin for the future activities. Is the least proactive of controls and is generally basis for reaction. Feedback controls permit managers to use information on past performance to bring future performance in the line with planned objectives. Control as feedback loop. In this latter sense, all these types of control function as a feedback mechanism to help leaders and managers make adjustment in the strategy, as perhaps is reflected by change in the planning, organizing, and leading components. This feedback loop is characterized in the following figure. First, we have planning, to organizing, to leading, and to controlling. Why might it be helpful for you to think of controls as part of feedback loop in POLC process? Well, kung ikaw ay isang negosyante who is writing the business plan for a completely new business, of course, mas gugustuhin mo magsimula sa planning components and work your way to controlling. That is, spell out how are you going to tell whether the new venture is on track. However, more often, you will be stepping into an organization that is already operating. And this means that the plan is already in place. With the plan in place, it may be then up to you to figure out the organizing, leading, or control challenges facing the organization. Controls are also differ depending on what is monitored. Maybe it is outcome control or behavioral control. Outcome control are effective when there is little interferences between managerial decision making on one hand and business performance on the other. It has also helped if little or no coordination with other business unit exists. Ang outcome controls daw ay mas epektibo kung merong konting interferences between the managerial decision making and business performance. Nakakatulong daw ito kung walang coordination sa ibang business ang nag-i-exist. Ang outcome controls are mas prefer when just one or two performance measure, including say return on investment or return on asset. Behavioral controls are typically more appropriate when there are many external and internal factors that can affect the relationship between a manager decision and organizational performance. They are also appropriate when manager must coordinate resources and capabilities across different business units. Behavioral controls refers to the fact that show whether there is a right to direct or control how workers does the work. A worker is an employee when the business has the right direct and control the worker. Behavioral controls mas angkop kung may external and internal factors na makakaapekto sa relasyon ng desisyon ng manager at ng performance ng organization. And also mas angkop kung ang managers ay co-coordinate the resources at may capabilities to across different business units. Across the different types of control in terms of level of proactivity and outcome versus behavioral, it is important to recognize that control can take one of two predominant forms, which is the financial and non-financial controls. Financial controls involve the management of a firm, costs, and expenses to control them in relation to budget amounts. When we say financial, it refers to the costs and expenses sa mga gastusin ng isang organization in relation to budgeting, executed by monitoring costs and expenditure in relation to the organizational budget. Management determines which aspect of financial conditions, such as assets, sales, or profitability, are the most important. Try to forecast them through budgets and then compare actual performance to budgeted performance. Without effective financial controls, the firm's performance can deteriorate. Non-financial controls track aspects of the organization that aren't immediately financial in nature, but are expected to lead to positive performance outcomes. Hindi man daw ito financial in nature, but makakasigurado or expected na magkakaroon ito ng positibong resulta. The theory behind such non-financial control that is should provide manager with a glimpse of the organizational progress well before financial outcomes can be measured, and this theory does have some practical support. Non-financial control are any other tools that help your organization stop and examine non-financial business transaction. These controls ensure that your procurement, operation, and commercial and other non-financial aspect being properly managed.